We're here to fly a plane that I need to continue to progress on. This is my Ultra Stick. I love this thing because I didn't have to spend hours and hours and days to build it. It comes as a plug and play. So basically, if you're familiar with getting a foam plane out of a box and taking about a half hour to an hour to put it together, that's about what you're gonna get with this. You're gonna take, they say about 10 minutes, but realistically, maybe a half hour. Slap it together and you can have this thing built before your batteries are charged and ready to fly. It seems that I just don't get to fly this enough, so I thought today was a beautiful day to get out here and put something in the air, and this is the one I picked. Let's fly. You're either a fan of these old ugly planes or you're not. A lot of people like them because of their simplicity and how easy they are to work on. You see the motor up there is completely exposed, you guys. And some people say they don't like it because of how ugly it is. I mean, geez, they have the nickname the ugly stick for a reason. These things are just not pretty to look at, but their simplicity is amazing. And back when everything was glow, people loved to fly a plane like this because when it's in the air, it still looks like an airplane. And when it's on the ground, that exposed, we have a motor, but what would have been an engine would have been really nice and easy to work on. Ready for takeoff?
Ready.
Remember, we're flying on 6S of power. If memory serves well, and I think it does, it'll fly on a 4S battery too, I think. Don't hold me to that. We'll have information on this plane linked in the description box below. The one thing I love about this plane is how it sounds and handles in the air. It is just a beast of an airplane and very maneuverable, but owns what it's doing. What I mean by that is there's just very little flex, very little give in this airplane. And if you want it to do a certain maneuver, it's going to be able to do it better than what I can demonstrate today. Another nice thing about it is the fact that it is a powerhouse of an airplane and it can just handle windy days. If there's a windy day and you still want to fly, by golly, this is a plane for you. It'll cut through the wind, no problem. Now I've got one small issue with mine. The battery compartment on there right now is the tray, I guess. The hatch is held on with a little metal screw. And there's my low voltage alarm because of the cold weather. We're gonna fly about a minute through that. But I'll have to show you, a little piece came unglued. Now it's on there fine, but it's a nuisance to take on and off, and it happened just since leaving the house. So somebody remind me to adjust my low voltage alarm for winter flying because it's going to need to be adjusted. But look at that, I can just climb forever and roll while doing so. I just flew over the moon, you guys. So awesome. Let's do a full throttle pass even with this alarm going off. And unfortunately, because of that low voltage alarm, we're going to bring it in for a landing. This might just be a shorter video on our channel because I'm not going to be able to put that second battery in today very easily until I get that one little thing re-glued back on. So let's bring it in for a smooth landing down the runway on the other end. Sweet airplane, isn't it? Let's see how smooth I can get it. I'm sorry about that alarm. I've got to fix it for winter flying. I'll explain that at the end of this flight, just in case you're wondering why would you adjust your alarm for winter flying. See if we can get it to slow down a little bit. Not a bad landing at all. It was really, really smooth. Let's taxi this back in. Woo! Tokyo drift style, right, Abby?
Yep.
Let's talk about winter flying and battery alarms, because this alarm you guys have been hearing this whole time is because it's colder out today. So off camera, Abby said, what are your things at right now? And I knew what she meant. She meant volts per cell. And if you guys look, we're at 4.01, 4.02 volts per cell. And she even said, well, that's high, because it is. So why was the alarm going off? Now there's two reasons. One, it's colder, and so our batteries are going to sink lower, faster in the cold. You get shorter flights in the winter, and we all know that. We all just have to accept it, unfortunately. Now, the other reason this was going off so early is because I had the alarm set. I didn't have it set, it was just like already set up by default for whatever reason at 4.1 volts per cell. So I was only getting like a 2-minute flight before that alarm was going off on this plane. So I actually just adjusted it in my radio, to go off at 3.8 volts per cell, which is so much better. So basically I should now be able to fly for double the time I just did on this one battery. Each battery is sitting at 4 volts per cell, and I want my alarm to go off at 3.8 volts per cell. So theoretically, I now should be able to put this back in the air. It's on the same battery as what we just flew on, and it shouldn't go off for at least like another minute. So let's all test that together and see if that works. It's fairly easy to lower your alarm and adjust it, and if you want, I'll show you in the video at the end of this video, okay? So stick around, but for now, let's put it back in the air on the same battery, see if we can get another minute or so out of that flight. Look at all that movement, isn't that just awesome? So right now, again, we're at 4 volts per cell. That's a pretty fully charged battery. Let's just see if we can juice the throttle. Let's just take off this way. You ready? There's very little wind. Oh, a little bit of too much rudder on my takeoff, but that's okay. That was really ugly. An ugly takeoff for the ugly stick. It's an Ultra Stick, but there you go, guys. Here's full throttle. And no alarm. And that's because I had my alarm set too high. Actually, I think almost every flight of this airplane has been set that high. I fly so many airplanes, it's hard to keep them straight sometimes. I have no idea why an alarm for me would be set at 4.1 volts per cell. You're only going to get a 1 or 2 minute flight before that alarm goes off. You got a minute and a half. There you go. And then everybody got to listen to that ugly, loud beeping, annoying beeping, anxiety producing. Yeah, it's really, you know what? Instead of that alarm, Spektrum, it should be like some very calm, like Morgan Freeman. Let's just get Morgan Freeman. Hey, everybody, it's time to think about landing. That sounds like Mr. Rogers. Well, I'm more Mr. Rogers than Morgan Freeman for a few obvious reasons. I don't think you could do Morgan Freeman's voice. No, I can't. If I could, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos about planes, would I? But there you go, no LiPo alarm. We're flying, fairly sporty, fairly aggressively. I needed to do that a while ago. So if you are having a similar experience, maybe you need to adjust your voltage alarm level. I'll show you guys how to do that when I land the airplane. And I think 3.8 volts per cell is still actually pretty high, but this is a big bird and we're flying in cold weather, so we want to give ourselves ample time to be able to land it. I generally like 3.6 volts per cell for my alarms to go off. I actually need to trim this up some. I have not flown this on a calm day yet. This has been the most calm I've ever had this plane in the air, so it's got a lot of bad flying tendencies right now because I've just been fighting wind every flight I've ever had on it. So with some trim, this thing will fly really smooth. It needs a little left rudder. It definitely needs up elevator. Just a few things I need to work out. This was just kind of an interesting day, guys. I planned on coming out flying this on the most calm day ever, and here we are having a nice low voltage lesson here. So let's go ahead and I want to keep flying this until our alarm goes off, since that seems to be the lesson of the day here. What do you guys think about an airplane that is balsa? It's wood, but it's so easy to set up. It's just like a foam plane. You know, I must have all my my up elevator trimmed already, so I've got to make an adjustment on the ground. This plane, I've not even been able to make it shine yet because we've just been working through the kinks. Full throttle pass. Let's climb it and just roll it like crazy. I think it sounds pretty good. It sounds amazing. I'll shut up on the next pass so everybody can hear it. Hopefully the alarm doesn't go off. It does sound really good, Abby. And I love that yellow on a blue sky like that. This thing is just dominating the air. It's so awesome. Let's see if I can knife edge this. Should be able to pretty easily. The plane can knife edge, not saying I can. Every plane flies a little different, and so although I can knife edge like my turbo timber really well, it doesn't mean I can knife edge this one really well, so I've got to get used to flying it. Let's see if I can Cuban 8. This is a very large Cuban 8. Oh, I'm liking my extended flight time, Abby. This plane has had such short flights. I think you've already gotten like almost 4 more minutes. It's wonderful. Oh, we'll roll it and climb it. Oh, roll it sorry. I'm sorry. I wonder if I can do like a stall hammerhead. Let's give it a shot down here. How about a stall hammerhead into a landing, and then we'll check our voltage when we're down on the ground. You ready? So we're going to let it zero throttle, see what it does. Wow, didn't happen the right direction, but we'll just go right into a landing off of that. Zero throttle, that whole time, zero throttle. Oh my goodness.
You're fast.
And there's the alarm. That's hilarious.
That's funny. Especially at zero throttle.
Yeah, well that tells us we had the perfect time to land. We'll check the voltage after I taxi in. What a fun day to fly.
You are wild taxiing this thing.
I looked away for a second, to be honest with you. Taxiing it in. We'll see what our voltage is at. That was a fun flight. Now we're at 3.79 volts per cell, which makes perfect sense. The alarm was going off, still going off. You can cancel it there for a second. But that lets us know it's time to land. We could have flown a little longer if you don't mind listening to that alarm. I'm comfortable with getting the battery down to 3.5, 3.4 volts per cell, and then it's gonna obviously come back up a little bit. Not quite a storage charge, but we're almost there. Telemetry, then smart battery, then you just go to first one, the startup volts. It says 3.8 volts per cell, and you can adjust that to wherever you like, but the farthest it'll let me go down is 3.8 volts per cell. And then you just back out, and the alarm is still going off, but quick and easy adjustment, very easy to do. The Ultra Stick on a not super windy day mixed with a battery low voltage alarm lesson. If you have questions about batteries, hit us up in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I know battery stuff fairly well. I've been flying electric planes now and all electric RC ground vehicles and boats and stuff for close to a decade, and all within the realm of lipos. So I'm not the smartest in the world at it, but I pride myself in knowing it pretty well. So if you've got questions, ask, and I'll see if I can help you, and maybe someone else in the comments can. If I can't, we'll talk about it. And I thank God for this beautiful day in December, really close to Christmas, that we got to get out here and fly a nice RC plane and share this experience with you guys. Let's not forget what Christmas is about. Christmas would be nothing without Christ. So just want to say thank you. Not to this alarm, but to the big guy upstairs, and a massive thanks to our Patreon supporters for everything that you guys do for us. We'll have another awesome video of this plane popping up right about now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.
Bye!